Welcome everybody live from Schultz Beer Garden. Let's have it. Hey, love it. Thank you to Schultz for having us. Thank you to the folks over at Third and Longhorn for helping us set this up and get this going. They did a great job earlier today. Make sure you check out that episode on Third and Longhorn. I'm Bobby Burton alongside Rod Babers, and that Schultz Beer Garden needs to turn around now. You can turn your camera around, Jerry Hamilton. Jerry's up on the stage here with us as well. We'll have CJ Vogel and Jeff Howe join us a little bit later as well. We want to thank our sponsors tonight, Andy Ludicky at myperfectfranchise.net, Duck Camp, as well as Von Lane, our travel partner for this tour that we're doing of Texas. It starts tonight, though, in Austin, Texas. Guys, y'all heard Third Longhorn earlier talking a little bit about the season preview. We did our season preview a couple weeks ago, and I came in 10-2, Rod and Jerry 11-1 each. I figured that we'd start with that tonight. And
Bobby's hate mail email address will be given out after the show for those that don't have it.
I will say he did have a little Aggies who somebody had Texas losing to a couple years ago.
Yeah, that is true. I don't remember him. We fired that guy. We fired that character.
That was Jerry Hamilton. But anyway, seriously, thank you all so much. We have some news that's going on. Obviously, yesterday, Ohio State decided that their quarterback was going to be Julian Sayin, young man from Carlsbad, California, who has been a tremendous prospect, but has never taken a snap. It came out earlier today that apparently the first-time quarterbacks playing a number one ranked team without a previous start are 0-18. 0-18.
Wow. That's good.
Let's not break that stat. How about we start with that? But Jerry, I want to start with you. Obviously, You saw Julian Sayin in person in high school. What kind of quarterback do the Buckeyes have? And then I'm going to ask Rod what kind of quarterback the Longhorns have.
Yeah, so Julian Sayin obviously signed with Alabama. Steve Sarkisian offered him. He camped at Texas twice. Sark told the story on Monday. Julian Sayin's a very accurate guy. Sark doesn't recruit anybody. He can't make all the throws, so he can throw it around, Rod. But really accurate. I think he's got really good pocket presence, feet in the pocket. He's not a guy that forced a lot of balls. He was a guy that made the correct read, made the right play, Rod, and did so with really good timing. That's how you become a guy that Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban and everybody in America wants. But I think the biggest key for any kid like this is can Texas make him drop his eyes and get his eyes drifting with pressure? Yep. Because he's never started a game. He's 5-12 in his career. As talented as he is, this is going to be while it's a home game, it's a totally different football game environment that he's ever played in. And I jokingly said, if I was Colin Simmons, I'd walk up to the left tackle before the game and I'd say, "You scouted me on tape," and I was standing up in a 2-point stance, and I'd drop my hand and I'd say, "Things are different this year." And I would go at them. I'd go at Sayin. I would talk to him. I'd go NBA basketball player and try to get in his head, Rod, get him thinking as much as possible and get his clock sped up. And that's with any young quarterback. Ohio State's going to try to do that with Arch.
He seems like he's best on schedule, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Rod, I have a question. That before you get to Arch,
let's talk a little bit about actually the situation at Ohio State. You've been a DB. Mm-hmm. Is Jerry's formula the right formula, or is it a multitude of things?
It is the right formula. I think Colin Simmons is already doing it because he's posting the Instagram stories about Julian Sayin. But I would get exotic. You have guys who've been in this defensive system for multiple years. Last year, we talked about it with Johnny Nansen coming in. They got really exotic with some of their looks, NASCAR package, that dime package they throw out there, 3D tackle package, a big nickel. I would get even more exotic with Julian Sayin, and I would throw different things at him that would force him would slow down his process, to your point, Gary, and get him off schedule. I want to get him off schedule. I want to get him out of rhythm. And when I do that, I think, because I don't know if does he operate well off schedule? Does he operate well improvising, sack avoidance?
So in high school, he didn't have a good offensive line, so he played under duress a lot. But that's in Carlsbad, California. That's totally different type of clock than he's going to be dealing with
Colin Simmons
on August 30th. Yeah. So he does play well under duress. He didn't play on the perfect high school team, so he had to play moving in the pocket, moving outside the pocket. So similar to Arch, it is at Orr Newman. I love quarterbacks that I evaluate that do have to play under duress in high school. So he has done it, but it's going to be a different speed for him August 30th.
Rod, you talk about what you're talking. Arch has actually started a couple games.
Yep.
And we've seen him, and
I think it's hard. Somebody in the audience actually earlier today pointed this out to me. I don't know. I can't remember exactly who did it, but it was a very smart point. It's that you don't even hear much about how Arch is doing right now in spring practice because it's just assumed that he's doing good or great, or we would hear about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked that. I mean, what have we heard behind the scenes on how Arch is actually doing? I mean, everybody assumes the best, which is good. I mean, I think it's good to be positive. But what are we hearing behind the scenes right now about how Arch is taking the leadership role as a quarterback, et cetera?
What did Ed Orgeron say today? But go ahead.
Yeah,
Hey, there you go.
Did anybody see Ed?
Edo's comment today, that was a good one.
yes.
Basically compared Arch Manning to Joe Burrow. He
Yes.
said he's the closest thing to Joe Burrow he's seen. That's what he said.
And I don't know if he did. I don't know if that comparison was at a beachside bar in South Beach or if, if he'd had a couple of pops or not, but that was a hell of a statement Edo made today.
What is the player comp for Arch? Because
Andrew Luck.
Ooh. Damn, that's good. Jay.
It's always been Luck. I'm not saying he's going number one in the draft, but it's always been Andrew
That's
Luck
good
for
because
me.
he likes to run. Andrew could run.
Yeah.
and a power runner,
Yeah.
Yes.
not necessarily
Bigger guy than you think when you see him in person.
Not
Super
twitchy.
cerebral guy. Not super twitched up, but just a really good high-end athlete with size at the position that's going to play in the pocket. In the athletic plays are going to be the last resort, but when they're asked to do it, he can do it.
He's like a 6'4" power forward type one. That's his athleticism.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you think about what you've heard? Whether it's first scrimmage, we heard he was a little high at times with some balls, but the second scrimmage, we actually heard that he performed really, really well.
That goes along with what we've seen, right? What I like about Arch's development is that he doesn't make a lot of the same mistakes over and over again, right? That from what I've heard, that he evolves very quickly. That you see him learn from his mistakes. That's what prodigies do, and he's considered a prodigy. But what I heard from Sark, what I like is Sark's essentially talking about some of the same things I've talked about that are going to help the Texas offense with Arch. His legs, the fact that he can operate off schedule, the fact that he's great with his instincts, the scramble drill. I even heard, I believe it was Anthony Hill was talking about that. Arch, he likes to use his legs to keep plays alive, to extend plays. Texas hadn't had a lot of that since actually Bam Bam Sam was probably the last guy that would work well in the scramble drill, extend the play. Quinn didn't have that naturally. I think Arch is going to bring that that cheat code to the offense, if you will, and it'll help them in the red zone where they've struggled, and on third down where they've been above average actually recently.
All right, I want to have our first sponsor break. That is
Our friend Andy Ludicky over at myperfectfranchise.net. If you are looking to getting into a franchise, make sure you check out Andy and the team at myperfectfranchise.net. 404-973-9901. Andy at myperfectfranchise.net. We appreciate him very, very much. He's been a sponsor with us now for almost 3 years. We could not do this without our sponsors and appreciate them greatly. All right, let's go to the chat line.
Yeah.
Y'all mind? We always do this in our live streams. Let's go to this one. And this one's from someone I bet some people in the audience have heard of before. Buddy, pal, chief, big guy. Tonight's this or that. Pick one. Jack Bomeister, the punter, or Shipley, Mason Shipley, the kicker, first team all SEC.
Well,
The
Crowd's going to go with Shipley after wide right or the right hash last year.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Solve your right hash problems. But I will say this. If Bomeister is first team all SEC, he's had a hell of a year because Georgia's punter is tremendous. The guy that tore his ACL last year is tremendous.
Yeah.
So, but I think I don't know, Texas fans have to vote on this. I think we're going Shipley.
There we go.
The right hash was not friendly to the Horns last year.
There's no, Rod, is there a football helmet around?
I do not have.
Ace says,
Oh, I know
Rod,
some
you
of
better
y'all
have
got
brought
one
your
up
helmet.
Oh, I know some of y'all
That's super
brought
chat.
some.
Thank y'all so much.
Oh, I did not. I'm
But
sorry.
hey,
Sorry,
no,
Ace.
we got it.
I'm sorry, Ace. I apologize. I should have brought my phone. You know what? I will bring it to Houston and I'll bring it to Dallas. I'm sorry I didn't bring my football helmet. Somebody has football helmets. I've signed a couple, so I don't know if I can wear them now.
Yeah. I tell you what,
Thank you, Ace.
guys, the Texas, after I want to go to this next for y'all. Arch Manning in Ohio State, the quarterback there, probably the two biggest things that we need to talk about going into Ohio State. But I was on a Buckeye Sports podcast yesterday, and they were very high on their offensive line. It was kind of strange.
Why?
Because I thought that they were starting 4 or 5 new starters, et cetera. They feel like they've got actually good depth there. But I want to segue this into the bigger question. How good is this Texas defense? Like, are they top 25 good? Are they top 40 good? Are they top 10 or top 5 in y'all's opinion? How good is this Texas defense? Jerry?
I'm going to segue for Rod on this. I think if Texas communication in the back end is in the same stratosphere close to last year, they'll end up being a top 5 defense because I think their front is so good. And I think they have such great depth. They have so many guys that can rush the passer. They're going to be hard to scheme against because they have so many movable chess pieces. You're not going to know where the pressure is coming from outside of number 1 on Instagram. But I think if the communication is strong in the secondary, this will be a top 5 defense in the country.
I agree with Jerry. And I'll give Jerry props because last year Jerry said they would set the sack record. And they didn't set it, they tied it.
Yeah.
Okay, like 1 sack shy of it. I think this year they will set. I agree with Jerry. I think they'll break the sack record. I think 08, they set the sack record, 47 sacks in the season.
Right.
I think they'll get more than that. But I can't think of a time where Texas had the best edge rusher in the country and the best linebacker in the country as a program.
Right.
Pass rushing linebacker, too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pass rushing linebacker on top of that. And then another All-American, by the way, in the secondary, Michael Tapp, who's a damn good player, is going to play on probably the greatest walk-on story in the history of Texas football. I just can't think of a time where the Texas defense had this many unique chess pieces, to Jerry's point. Will it be better than next year? Last year you had a top 5 defense. So I don't know if it'll be better than last year. You face
better quarterbacks this year, Rod.
quarterbacks than you faced last year, right? If DJ Lagway's healthy,
Yeah.
you got him. Mateer is a better quarterback than Oklahoma had last year. I just think you face better Marcel.
Julian Sands better than anything Michigan put on that field last
Diego
year.
Pavia will be in that system for 3-4 years now.
Taylor Green.
Taylor Green's in that same system. So I just think, they may make more plays against the defense than they made last year. Doesn't mean the defense actually isn't better because I don't know if any defense in the country is going to be able to present as many elite pieces, elite problems as the Texas defense will with Colin Simmons, then an Anthony Hill, and then having all these other guys that can play multiple positions.
Hey, Brad Spence isn't a starter on this team.
I know they got him.
He had 54 tackles and 4.5 sacks at Arkansas last year, and he's not a starter on this team.
It's crazy.
But Sark considers him a starter on this team because he said he's got 16 starters.
Which means they're going to play a lot of guys like they're starters. Yeah.
Move Rod's mic a little closer.
Sorry, I thought I was loud.
You are loud, Rod, but that's okay. We love you. We love it when Rod's loud. The whole tackle sack thing, brings up this question.
Shackles.
Yes. Brandon Huey says, Brandon's in the audience, by the way, tonight.
Hey!
How many sacks does Texas have in week 1?
They had 2 versus Ohio State last year.
Michigan, you mean? Over under is 4, he says.
Versus Ohio State, they had 2 last year. So versus Ohio State.
Oh, versus Ohio State in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So they had
man.
2 last year. But
Is Will Howard, let me ask you this, Jerry. Is Will Howard more mobile than Julian Sayin?
I think he's harder to get to the ground.
Bigger body guy, harder to get to the ground. I think Julian Sands' body's still that of a younger quarterback. I mean, Will Howard is 6'5", 240.
he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's hard. Will Howard's tougher to get to the ground.
Is Julian saying is he taller than 6 foot?
No, he's 6'1.5", 6'2", probably 205, 210 in that range, I would say.
He's a distributor, though.
Like he's a true distributor. Over and under though, week 1, 4 sacks under.
If it's over,
Texas certainly wins the game.
I think it's under.
You think it's under 2? I think.
I think it's
I
under.
think. Look, Ohio State has good coaches.
Exactly.
I mean, they're gonna run tight ends to stall Colin Simmons or whoever Texas has, and they'll just try to throw it up sometimes.
Well, see, that's the question.
Jeremiah Smith.
Alex Oakford brought this up because you can't let Colin Simmons beat you.
No.
I mean, everybody knows he's the best pass rusher in the country coming in. So you're going to chip him with running backs. You're going to put a tight end over there, make him run the hump all the way around. He's going to get extra attention. Let's say the extra attention works. Then there's other guys. How deep is Texas pass rush is really the question I think you're going to get answered for Ohio State because of Brad Spence and Trey Moore and, Anthony Hill, all those guys step up. Then you don't need Colin Simmons to take over a game as the key pass rusher. If the game plan is take him out of the game. Let's take him out.
And the other thing is,
The most important thing for Texas in this game is first down run defense.
Yeah, it is.
Because if you control first downs with your run defense, that sack number is definitely possible in this game.
Yeah. 40% of Texas sacks came in that NASCAR package on third down last year. So that's when they eat.
Yeah. First down run defense will tell you the story.
I'm taking the under.
Of course,
I also took Texas to lose that game.
That's true.
that's why he bought shots for all
You
the
and
guys.
Alex
That is why I bought shots.
You and Oak, though. Oak said the same thing, though. Oak had your record, 10-2.
Hey,
Yeah.
and by the way,
one of our sponsors is Laura Baker still here. She's a realtor.
Yeah.
If she is, she may have some extra for sale signs y'all can take to the Cotton Bowl for Brent Venables this year.
Wow. Well done,
I had to go at Brent at some point in this.
You got an ad read and took a shot at the student in the same breath. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. This
Hey, Freelance Society was here too.
Can Florida expose Texas's defense? If not, what team can hurt Texas's defense? It's a good question. Florida returns a really good offensive line.
Yeah.
They have a very capable quarterback and a very capable running back.
Improved wide receiver core.
And they have speed, not just improved, but they have speed, deep speed
And size with
to keep the safeties back.
Yeah.
And is that the team that can expose?
Can I just say, y'all, it sounds like the Aggies a little bit, but I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
Like the Aggies got a really good O-line. They got a good running game, and they just got receivers, Concepcion, that can challenge down the field. But I don't like Marcel Reed, so I get it.
I like Marcel Reed as a leader and all that stuff, but I don't think he has the arm.
I agree with that.
He's the
I'm
Derek Lagway has a
I'm
DJ
interested to
Lagway
see
has a
DJ
hose.
He's the
Lagway.
best deep ball in college football.
I'm interested to see if DJ Lagway has an arm after the Miami and LSU games because they're worried about his shoulder in Gainesville. I'm very interested to see how healthy he's going to be.
Texas defense, the DBs, should actually be really good at defending deep ball this year. I've said it before a couple of times, went out to practice and seen the Longhorns. Arch chunks it deep a lot.
Yes,
He throws it deep a lot. They are not.
they're accustomed to it.
Yeah, right. I think they are going to be, at least they're going to have a plan to defend the deep ball because Arch throws the vertical shot a lot in practice.
We didn't get a chance to address this on Arch, but I'm going to ask Rod. I think where Arch is really good is vertical throws outside the numbers. And that could be on corner routes. That could be, just a go route. But do you expect Sark to dial up a lot of boundary throws for Arch in the first game to take away maybe some of the late middle, deep late mistakes that an aggressive young quarterback could make? Do you expect Sark to maybe try to dial up more throws along the boundary if he can get them in the right formations, get them in the right coverages, so Arch knows his guy or the out of bounds line? So he takes away that maybe a force down the field by an aggressive young quarterback in the middle.
That is good because he also throws well on the move and outside the pocket.
Yes.
To your point. And that would also lend itself to throwing some of those shot plays you're talking about. I think the route tree is going to change under Arch. I think you're going to get more NFL caliber routes under Arch.
give me an example. Give people an example of what you mean by that.
I think you may get old school comebacks coming back.
I agree.
Like Quinn didn't throw old school comebacks. The old school comeback is a 17-yard comeback route on the sideline. You throwing it to the sideline to a point where your guy's going to get it or nobody's going to get it. That's a hard throw to make, by the way. I mean, Quinn can make it, but I don't think Sark had the trust in making it over and over again. I think you'll see throws like that. I think you'll see some of those, and Quinn actually did throw some of those deep in cuts off the play action, traditional play action, under center. I've heard them going under center a little bit.
A lot.
Where they actually had some exchange issues under center. I think Sark wants to get back some of the old school play action under center.
Yes.
And by the way, college DBs have not seen. They don't see that. Because the bees do not see.
And a Manning
turn it back.
learns to play quarterback under center and then goes to the shotgun in life. That's
Yeah.
the Manning way.
Yep.
So he played, and even at Isidore Newman, he played under center more than a lot of high school quarterbacks do. That's, I think, it's going to be a big part of what Sark gets to have more of his traditional play action game.
Yep.
I think it's going to help the run game,
Mhm.
but he's also, that means your pass pro has to be really sound, Rod, because Arch is going to turn his back to the defense
Yeah, yeah.
more this year than we've seen a Texas quarterback in a while.
I agree with that.
All right, we've got a couple more super chats in here, and then
Actually talks about Arch, and so let's keep on that comment if you don't mind. This is from Jackson S. Should we expect Arch to struggle with pre-snap adjustments, reads, audibles in the early season? That's where Quinn made his money. He certainly did against Arizona State late. Is that what a young quarterback struggles with? Is that a problem?
I think it can be. Even Sark admitted right in the first scrimmage, they had a lot of pre-snap operational issues with the offense. He said he emphasized it more in the second scrimmage, and they cleaned it up. But I do think with a young quarterback, the Sark has so much pre-snap movement, pre-snap shifts, and that's what I think makes his offense so unique. That's a lot for a young quarterback to have to manage. Now, Arch has done it for 3 years. I mean, they've been doing it in practice, and he got starts. So I don't think it should be that much of a learning curve for Arch, in my opinion.
I don't think it will. I think
O-line maybe.
I think O-line maybe. I think with Arch, any quarterbacks that's aggressive down the field vertically, it's deep late and late middle when you're under duress. Those are the throws he has to fight to stay away from, because those are throws that he wants to make, Rod.
Yeah, he does.
And that's the one he's going to have to fight not to make, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree with that.
sorry, technical thing I got to do here. All right,
We're going to have Jeff Howe join us, as well as CJ Vogel. I don't know if CJ, here he is. CJ's the only one of this group that can sport white pants. He's the youngest one. We're going to have those guys come in. Before we do, I want to say thank you. Another sponsor that is in the audience tonight is Mark Saunders of Allstate. Thank you, Mark. His son's here as well. Thank you so much. Jerry Hamilton, can you tell us about?
I've got five. So Mark is our sponsor of the recruiting breakdown, which is awesome. Weekly, we'll have a new recruiting breakdown tomorrow. Where we're going to tape Jeff Howe, CJ, and I. But when it comes to protecting all your stuff, wouldn't it be great to have one place that protects it all? He's here tonight. Here's some great news. Texas Allstate agent Mark Saunders serves the Austin and Round Rock area and the entire state of Texas. That means he's the only insurance agent you'll need, and he's right here for you to talk to. Everything from your home, car, boat, to your motorcycle, RV, and an ATV if you got one. I know a lot of people do. Call Texas Allstate agent and Texas alum Mark Saunders' office today, 512-218-8571. You will be in great hands with the over 35 years of experience that Texas alum Mark Saunders brings to all your insurance needs.
Not quite Manscaped read.
Do y'all want one of those? Joy Mode, Manscaped.
All right, hey, I'm gonna do Duck Camp, and we'll let CJ and Jeff in. I want to say thank you also to Duck Camp. Those guys are here today for us. Duck Camp makes gear for folks who live for being out there, whether that's in a duck blind or at sunrise or on the 40 acres for Saturday kickoff. That's just coming in 2.5 weeks now. We'll be back here in Austin. Duck Camp, born here in Austin. Duck Camp builds best-in-class hunting and fishing apparel that works just as well for a full day in the field as it does for a long day of tailgating. From sun protection shirts that keep you cool during those early season scorchers to their iconic game series hats that feel like instant classics, Duck Camp gear is ready for football season, hunting season, and every season in between. Get out there, stay out there, and hook them. Shop Duck Camp at duckcamp.com. CJ and Jeff, y'all come on up, guys. Appreciate you guys. Jerry, you good?
Absolutely.
See you. Thank you.
Yeah, our first
Question is going to be an audience question for you guys.
Oh,
So it's an easy one.
come on in, Jeff.
It's an easy one. It's from Megan at Uplift Desk. Jeff and CJ, I'm getting up in a second. Who are the unsung leaders on offense and defense this season? Go.
Who are the unsung offensive? First of all, I want to say this before we even get there. Rod Babers, you're awesome dude, man. Thank you so much. not only did you work, but there are very few people that can play football and then go ahead and talk about it and articulate it the way you can. You really do a tremendous job, and I think you speak in a way that allows us to, the layman to understand.
It's hard to speak as slow as he does when you ran as fast as he did. He's having to work in reverse.
And furthermore, I think we can all appreciate Jerry Hamilton's sense of humor. So there we go. All right. Seriously, guys, thank you all so much. Jeff and CJ, what was the question again? Megan asked y'all a question. Jeff, did you recall the question?
Yeah. Unsung leaders on offense and defense.
Okay, you have to speak into the mic.
Speak into the mic. There we go. I'll give you, I don't know, CJ, I'm sorry for going first. I may take your answers. I'll go Cole Hudson on offense. Just because he's been there for a long time, kind of waited his turn, played a lot of football, like a lot more football than you think. Like I mentioned this, Bobby, like going back last season, there were some big games, like high leverage snaps where he's in the game and DJ Campbell's not. So I think the staff trusts him. And then Leon LaFau, like I'll make the bad Game of Thrones analogy again. Like he's Jon Snow at the Night's Watch. Like he's at Castle Black, like defending it. He's out there like it's not the sexiest job in the world. Nobody really thanks him, but you're really glad you got him on your side. I think he's going to be one of those stabilizers. You got all these havoc guys, Ant Hill and Simmons, and we go down the list, but I think LaFau's going to be the guy that kind of stabilizes that defensive front.
I think those are both good picks. CJ?
I like Brandon Baker as my right tackle. I think that's a guy who had a really solid spring, and he's come a long way in the fall camp so far, Jeff. I think that this is one where you start looking at valuable pieces. Your tackles are certainly that. On top of that, a 5-star living up to the expectation and the hype. I think you got a really talented right tackle, Brandon Baker. Defensively, the versatility of Jelani McDonald cannot go understated enough.
Jelani McDonald and Brandon Baker for you, and you went Cole Hudson and Leon LaFau. For folks that don't know, we send 2 guys to every media availability possible, and that's these 2 guys, Jeff Howe and CJ Vogel. They do a great job for us, not only on Texas Football, but also on TexasFootball.com. Appreciate them very, very much. CJ, you're kind of the young buck here. I promised, my wife told me this. She goes, Bobby, it's almost like it's passive-aggressive that you're passive-aggressive against CJ because he's young. And I go, no, I'm just jealous. That's the reality. So when I poke at you for being young, it's not that I'm trying to be mean. It's that I'm literally jealous.
It's the white pants. Bobby, right?
It is the white pants. It's being able to pull off the white pants. All right, we have some other super chats and whatnot to go on. Jeff, you've been covering the Longhorns for 10-plus years.
A long time.
Yep. Let's go to Clifton Hines here, and I'll cue this question for you, if you don't mind, if it shows up here. Matt, our producer, can you read that?
There we go.
Oh, there it is. Clifton Hines. Defense is the strength. Are we concerned about not hearing overly glowing QB play from Arch this fall camp? This goes into what we were talking about earlier, right? Feels like news was better on Quinn last year. 3rd-year starter.
Overly concerned, no.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think there's still a lot with Arch that's you gotta remember he's only started 2 games. So being QB1, having command of the offense, and plus, I mean, you're not I'll quote what Craig Niver told me about when he was interim DC for that bowl game against Utah, the Alamo Bowl. He comes up to me after the media availability. He's like, hey, we're not playing in the Blanken Weed Eater Bowl. We're playing like a real opponent. So Texas, they're not playing like ULM right out of the gate. Like you're playing Ohio State. So they're putting a lot on Arch's plate. Overly concerned, no. I think there's a lot of stuff that's still going to be a little trial and error with him. I think that's part of the procedural issues they had in scrimmage 1. Got it cleaned up in scrimmage 2. So, no, I'm not overly concerned with it. And plus, I mean, you've had, Mosley's been in and out at receiver. You're still getting used to the tight ends. You talk about O-line shuffling. So, you got to look at what's around him, too, that's not exactly stable right now. It's getting there, but they're tinkering with a lot still.
All right, let's go to the next one. This is a super chat from Ace's second one. Thank you very much. Hook 'em, love it. Here's to another good year of OTF and Texas football.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Ken Ward, met him earlier today. He's in the audience as well tonight. Bobby, you mentioned that we'll be playing OU, A&M, and Arky next year. I do believe that's going to be the case. Is that sure? They talked about 3 permanent rivalry games, but have not seen that confirmed. He says, I prefer the Aggies and Sooners if we only get 2. Thoughts? So I don't think, while Texas did not receive what I would call 100% assurances that Texas would play A&M and OU every year, I don't think that as value proposition to the SEC taking either of those games away make any sense. I also would tell you that Arkansas wants this game badly and would lobby the university or the SEC for that game. So I do believe, I don't know that there's going to be 3 common opponents every year, but I do believe those are going to be 3 that Texas plays every year. I mean, 99% sure they'll play OU and A&M until the cows come home.
And that's how it should be. Again, I think
Texas and Arkansas is very Texas techie. You know, it's kind of that stepsister step. I don't have something to base this off of, Bobby. I don't have a wife, obviously, but it's the guy that you don't want to necessarily deal with if you have a best buddy at the bar, right? You know, that's your best mate. That's Oklahoma. That's Texas A&M. Arkansas is kind of that third fiddle. If you have to lose them, hey, that's part of it. It would hurt Arkansas significantly more than it would hurt Texas.
I would agree with that it would hurt more, but there's some folks in the audience that would call that sacrilegious at some level.
Arkansas,
Arkansas,
Not people your age would say that. People more mine.
Arkansas is more like the creepy uncle that shows up at the family reunion that you got to deal with. Like, you really don't want to. They're more excited to see you than you are to see them. You just kind of got to grin and bear it for 4 quarters.
Ken, thank you for your super chat and thank you for your support. Appreciate you, man. All right, next, Jason Davis. Anyone notice how the 2025 Texas OSU game mirrors 2006, the one that Texas, that Ohio State came to Austin? The parallels are wild. That's when Troy Smith won the Heisman that year as a first-year full-time starter for Ohio State. The Buckeyes, I think, did they play for the national championship that year but lost?
They showed up in Tempe for a football game, and Florida did, and Ohio State kind of left after kickoff. But yeah.
Okay, gotcha. That was it. What about the parallels other than, I guess the opposite would be being in Austin compared to Columbus?
I guess
Colt saying.
Colt is saying.
I mean, I guess if you really want to go down the road of the one thing I remember about that 05 game is Troy Smith was suspended for the first game and didn't start the second game. There's something that he had a camp that summer. I forget what it was, but they started Justin Zwick in that game.
Yeah.
So if you want to go to the parallel, okay, did Texas in hindsight start the wrong guy? That opens up a whole different can of worms. I don't know if you're talking about that parallel, but I mean, I don't know. I can kind of see it, but like when I think about the quarterback specifically, like it's a little bit of a stretch.
I would just say this: the one thing it's completely like is the number of really good football players on that roster for both teams. I mean, both teams are loaded this year. Aaron Ross won the Thorpe that year, right, for Texas.
Yeah.
Smith won the Heisman for Ohio State. There are some parallels as well as opposites.
James Laurinaitis, Beanie Wells, they had a really, really good football team.
Yep. Landon Rodriguez, thank you so much. OTF is the unsung leader of my Longhorn football addiction.
Hey.
Much love and many thanks. Thank you to you, Landon, as well. A couple other questions. Tight end from Rocky P. Tight end may be the key to the game for Texas. If Texas can, the tight end can make plays early, Downs can just roam the secondary. In other words, keeping Caleb Downs, their All-American safety, kind of occupied if they don't do that. Otherwise, here's the question I have for y'all. It's actually a little different. It's that with Trevor Goosby's injury, which we hear is a finger, that's not insignificant, but we'll see what happens with it. Does that keep a tight end? Are they going to run 12 personnel more than they might have otherwise with Trevor Goosby if he were available as well?
Good morning, and I'll ask you, Bobby. I mean, does Texas throw out a 13 personnel? Because we've heard Sark talk about this tight end room has as much versatility in different ways that you can utilize multiple tight ends on the field together than maybe Texas has ever had. And that's after 3 consecutive years of program record-setting performances by their tight end. So when you look at Jack injuries, you look at the skill sets of a Spencer Shannon and a Jordan Washington, how quickly along does a Nick Townsend kind of factor into the mix as well if this injury lingers long enough for Trevor Gooseby? Ultimately, Texas has leaned on 12 personnel to win football games in the past. You look at that fourth quarter and second half really against Arkansas on the road in Fayetteville, Texas didn't come out of 12 personnel for basically that entire second half. And no, the score, the offense maybe wasn't as pretty or tantalizing as what we've seen elsewhere throughout that season, but it got the job done. Texas put up enough points. They ended up running off a lot of clock towards the end of the game, and they did so with multiple tight ends on the field. I'm thinking if that's the way that Sark has to approach this game, 12 personnel, maybe even 13 personnel, especially in the red zone, might be utilized to throw maybe a bit of a loop for Ohio State.
Let's combine, Brandon. Let's combine this with 214 Texas Bronco. No one talking about how matchup between the linebackers and tight ends from OSU. They killed us in the middle of the field last game. G. Scott, those guys. They've got Max Clare.
Emeka Egbuka was huge.
But not tight ends,
yeah,
though.
but that's why I didn't really see the tight end get used much. Like, to me, anytime they had a critical down in that game, they were going to Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
So does
So
that change with the rookie or a young freshman quarterback?
I think it changes. It changes for me. Like, you could almost take Jeremiah Smith out of the game. If you're Ohio State, you could be okay with that because you've still got a first-round wide receiver that's still is either getting single covered or is going to have a better time getting open. Do you trust Carnell Tate and or Brandon Ennis to be that guy? Like, I know we're getting away from tight ends, but like that's my question with Ohio State. As far as like the personnel goes, I always try to look at it like this. When you talk about adding an extra tight end or whatever, I think about, okay, you want somebody that can help in pass protection, help the tackle. What makes you harder to defend? Having Spencer Shannon on the field or having C.J. Baxter and Trey Wisner on the field? Because C.J. Baxter can help in pass pro. So that's how I would start looking. So it wouldn't be out of the question for me if they did more 21 personnel with one tight end, 2 backs.
All right, we're getting close to finishing up here. I want to ask one final thing, if you don't mind. Y'all were at the player availability today, right? What was the one thing you took away from Arch or any of the guys that were there today that you can leave with the crowd with tonight?
Anthony Hill's new haircut. Yeah, the dreads are gone. He buzzed it.
He buzzed his haircut. Okay. What about you, CJ?
I'll stick with Anthony Hill because, look, we talk about Arch enough, and there were some big headlines from Arch today. But Anthony Hill repeatedly saying this is a physical defense. We play physical football. This is going to be a team that brings the physicality. I mean, if I had $1 for every time that he said that, I'd be able to buy 50 more shots for everybody here. But ultimately, that's what you want to hear from a team that returns a lot, especially a lot of All-Americans and guys that are really darn talented and played a lot for the Longhorns a year ago.
So it wasn't Arch about next year and telling his grandpa, hey, you shouldn't have said that. That wasn't that probably made some national headlines.
No, the click farmers and the content mills will run with that. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, honestly, Bobby, like, seriously, Michael Taft was talking about communication in the secondary. And like his voice was hoarse. He's like, you hear my voice, like it's gone. Like that's how much we're communicating. His quote was, and I love this, and Rod can attest to this. He said, if we're all wrong, we're going to end up being right. Like whatever the call is, go with it. You trust each other enough. You've gone over this enough to go with it. If everybody's doing the same thing correctly on a snap, whether it's a coverage, a blitz, whatever it is, you've got enough athleticism on this defense to make up for whatever mistakes may happen in that coverage. So I think the fact that communication, we've been talking about it because it is a big deal. It might not be as big of a deal as we've all thought it was going to be.
All right. Before we go, I want to say thank you all again to the folks at Third Longhorn. I want to say thank you to Schultz Garden. I want to say thank you to Mark Saunders, Laura Baker, Duck Camp, Andy Ludicky at My Perfect Franchise. There are still 10 shots up here. If anybody wants to finish those up, Kevin Hannon said, OTF bought shots for the crowd. Crowd buys shots for OTF. Thank you so much. Which Longhorn do you think will have the most memorable play in the Ohio State-Texas game? shout out to none other than Limas Swede. Ryan Wingo from the audience. Anybody else from the audience have a name? The biggest play going to happen on a week from Saturday. What player? Colin Simmons. Marcus Myers, what do you have out there, man? A Jelani McDonald. There we go. We got a Jelani McDonald truther. Oh, Michael Tapp pick. Okay.
A fake
Movies
punt.
through a big punt. There we go.
Oh, fake punt, perhaps. I'm in.
Oh, the field goal kicker.
I said this.
I love that. First touchdown, CJ Baxter, whatever the odds are, throw it, get some more shots.
I said it a few weeks ago.
Thanks.
I don't know if it's the first touchdown, but there's a Jalen Gilbo pick six in this game.
There we go. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks.
Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to you guys for coming out. Thank you all so much for watching All Texas Football, and you guys have a good night. Hook 'em horns, guys.
Welcome.